Hi guys, so here we are today in the Lexus. It's not really a video that I wanted to make, but here we are making the video now. So just basically an update video of what's going on with the Lexus and that sort of ordeal to try and explain it, in case it's a bit confusing on basically what's going on with it. Just pull out of here. I'll concentrate a second, it's very bumpy. Okay, so with the Lexus, basically, summarised up, it is going. I'm not having the car anymore. It will be sold basically in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, if someone buys it, that is. The main reason for that is due to high insurance prices, basically, to put it simple. You might think, well, if it's expensive, why'd you get the car in the first place? Well, to answer that question, it was affordable originally. Well, I could afford to pay it originally. It was expensive, but then I'm not explaining it very well. So with the insurance thing, I basically had a company that insured me, paid that, happy days. That insurance company went into bankruptcy. They declared bankruptcy basically, so that company is no more, sort of thing. So all their clients that they've got, all the people they're insuring, have basically not with them anymore, and they've got to find other places to go to get insured. Me, with being a young driver and not having an amazing driving record, makes it very tricky to get insurance policies. They were sort of like a specialist that seemed to be the only guys that would insure me on sort of more interesting cars, if you want to call the Lexus that, which I class that as more of an interesting car myself. But so without that company being there, it makes it very tricky to get insurance on a lot of cars, to be honest. Here we go. Yeah, so I have looked around. I've done loads of quotes. Don't be like, whoa, you should have tried this person, or you should have tried these specialists. I've tried all the like specialist people for people with bad history of records and stuff. No one wants to touch me on a Lexus, basically. This one in particular, it's not great. It's a shame really, because it is a good car. I've really enjoyed driving it. I've not really done many videos with it, unfortunately, because I've kind of did a here's the new car, then I did an exhaust video, and then now it's getting rid of it, which is kind of depressing. Don't want to be like one of them people that tries to big up things and then it just sort of never happens. I don't like sort of leading people on with them sort of things, but this is just kind of what's happened with this car. So it will be replaced. The replacement has already been bought. I've already got that. I can currently drive that around. It is insured, also at a very expensive rate. It's not anything that's going to amaze anyone. It's just a car that does everything that I need it to do. The video will be on that shortly. This is super foggy where I'm driving now. You won't be able to see moving forwards. It's foggy. Because I've got sunglasses on as well. That's fine. Yeah, so the replacement's been bought. You'll see that in the next couple of videos. I'll probably put it up rather this month, or it'll be in February where I release what that is and explain why I've got that and all that sort of thing that goes with that. Lex on the other end obviously is going, I'll sell it and all that sort of unfortunate stuff. Hopefully we'll get some sort of rebate from my insurance that I paid, because I did pay quite a lot of money in a lump sum to insure it, to try and get it cheaper, and now they've cancelled it and I'm like down a lot of pennies. So not great, but it's just one of those things really, I suppose, with car insurance, is when you do take that risk of paying all in one go, if they're going to sort of be there at the end of that year. Usually they are, but in this case they've not. Just got unlucky really, which tends to be my thing with cars. I bought the Shogun, that blew up. Bought the Lexus, I was like, yeah, bought the Lexus, happy days, great car, really fun to drive, get an exhaust on it, do some bits to it, and then now this is cracked off. It's unfortunate, but I'm just going to make the most of it really, because at the end of the day, the priority for myself is the drifting and the drift car, which that's not going anywhere, which is like my priority is that I'm not going to sort of let that sort of thing slip or go anywhere. So the next car will definitely be capable of manoeuvring that vehicle about, we'll say. As I was saying with the Lexus, with bits that I was going to do, I did have plans for it. I did buy some quite nice wheels for it, which I haven't really obviously done a video on yet. I was hoping to get some coilovers on the car, and then I was going to obviously lower it quite a lot, and then I'd get the new wheels on, but that never happened, so unlucky I suppose. But enough of me ranting, I guess, really. There's no point me really moaning to everyone on YouTube. It's just sort of to let everyone know what's going on, really, for why I bought another car again, because I seem to be buying loads of cars. This past year I bought 5, I think, which is a lot. Obviously, not all of them have just been bought to drive on the road. The 350 was obviously an exception, because that was a fun toy that we've got, and we've still got that. The Shogun blew up. I bought a BMW, didn't do a video on that actually. I bought a 1 Series BMW, bought it to sell it basically, made some money on that. Kind of cool. If I was to do anything like that again, I'd probably film it, to be honest, just out of sort of informational wise for people to watch in that, just because I think it might be quite interesting on that whole idea of how all that stuff works, but no idea where I'm going, to be honest. But this video is just to kind of tell you that. I'm going to add loads of like sound clips and stuff of the car, because I feel like I've not filmed enough of this car. I've had it for such a short time, so obviously over time I was hoping that I'd be able to film more, and then you get to see the car more and more as it goes on. Never happened really, so this video I'm just trying to squeeze in some driving clips of me driving it, and sort of the exhaust stuff. Update on the exhaust. When I did the actual video of it, I was kind of not very happy with it. I could, from watching the video back, it doesn't kind of look like it's oh yeah, got an exhaust, great. But now that it's sort of embedded into the car a bit more, it's the notes sort of sort itself out and all that, I really do enjoy the sound of it. Oh crikey, where are you going? This isn't an idea, where? Oh, yeah. That was very tight, thank you very much. Yeah, so now it's, I love the sound of it, to be honest. I think it sounds mint, so I will try and just basically get loads of clips for you of the exhaust and that. There's no point in me doing a walk around the car really, because you've seen the outside. It is stock still, there's nothing to look at, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the end of the Lexus, I suppose. Unfortunate, a quick end to it really. It only lasted a couple of months. I'd just like to add in this video, as it is the last video with the Lexus, sort of my quick sort of review, I suppose, of the car. Obviously, I've only had the car for September, so it's end of September, so it's October, November, December, and start sort of January. So that's like 3 months solid of the car. I've drove it quite a lot, so I would say I've got a good feel of what they are sort of like in that sort of period. My whole general review on them is, I think they're a great car, to be honest. They're really fun to drive. The power is decent for what it is. I mean, the engine's obviously really cool because it's a V6, big fan of V6s. Fuel economy is not great, to be honest, on it. I average at about 18 miles per gallon from what it says, which sounds about right from the amount that I have to fill up. That obviously varies on how you drive, so it might be slightly better if you do, I don't know, motorway journeys, say, all the time. I only ever drive it around town at the weekends or sort of down lanes or whatever, so it's not really getting sort of the most fuel efficient drive out of myself, I would say. Comfort wise, I think it's amazing. I love the leather seats in it. It's got heated and cooled seats. I've used both features and I think they're both great, to be honest. The seats heat up really well. The cooled seats cool down, or don't know what you'd say, they cool, the areas that cool, like it comes on quite quickly, and it does what it needs to do, I suppose. The car handling wise, it really isn't that bad for what it is. I mean, it's quite a big car, it weighs a decent amount, but it does quite well for what it is. Like, it is quite surprising, I would say, sort of driving wise. It can sort of do it handles sort of sporty for what it is. I think it is kind of a sports sedan with obviously the engine package and the gearbox that it sort of comes with, which I suppose that does show in how it does drive and how the power's delivered and everything like that, which, I mean, it's good. It's something that you want from a car like this, I suppose, if you want something that's kind of luxury and sort of, I guess, fun to play with and also sensible at the same time, apart from the fuel economy, I suppose. Obviously, it has ISOFIX seating, so like children's seats, so it's good for like a family car. Boot space is amazing. You fit like push chairs and whatnot, and that's the main thing that I have in mind personally. So there's not really else I put in there, but there's loads of space in there for other things. I've got a tow hook on my one. It does pull a trailer, so it's pulled the 350 on the back of the trailer with this. It doesn't do amazing. It does all right though. It does the job. I only done that one time there, so I can't comment too much for how it is actually on towing with things, but I mean, as a car as a whole, I think it is quite a good package for the money that you do pay for one of these, because they are really cheap. They're sort of a car that sort of isn't really looked at, really, I'd say, in the market. Like, there's a lot of cars in general are quite expensive currently, as if you've looked into the car market, you'd probably know that. Older Japanese stuff is just extortionate prices. This kind of doesn't really fall into that though. It is Japanese, but not the older cool retro stuff. This is sort of one of them cars it's kind of old, but then it's like not old enough to be cool, so then it's kind of like, I don't know, I just feel like people overlook it because people don't really like this sort of age of car, I feel, in a way, or just these in general, I guess, maybe. I think as a car they look okay. They're not like the most striking car in the world, but I mean, I've seen them done up and they do look really good, like with the modern headlights or whatever style of headlights you go for, look really good on it. And the tail lights on it, I think, look great standard. It looks quite modern at the rear of the car. The side profile's really good as well, I think. Just the front end, I think, lets it down slightly, but then also it kind of holds on to that slight sort of retro Japanese sort of vibes. To myself personally, that's what I kind of see when I look at it. So I think it's cool. As a car itself, I think it is great for what you do pay for one of these. I mean, it has got like, you can turn all like the traction control off and stuff, which is really good. I think that does vary on what age of one you buy though. I think it might be 7 plate onwards that you can do that. I could be wrong. I'm sure I looked into it before and there's like a period where they didn't do them with the traction control button. Okay, let's try not to pull out anyone. There we go. Yeah, so as I was saying, I don't know what I've covered. I feel like I've covered most of what I feel is important to cover, which is like the comfort, the performance, and the visuals of the car, and sort of I briefly mentioned fuel economy, which I think are sort of the main things that I think are important, especially when you're sort of looking into a car sort of thing. I guess if you were to buy one, if you like want one of these, I would recommend it. If you want one, if you've been looking at them, I'd say just get one, to be honest. Give it a go. You're not going to lose really any money on it unless anything goes wrong with it and you've got to fix it. But in general, these cars are meant to be pretty decent reliability wise. Depending on mileage, you sort of, when you get higher mileage, there's things you have to change on every car because only things last for so long. But I think as a whole, the package you do get for the money you pay is really good, and I think there's not many cars that you do get the amount of kit that you get. Like this has got, like I mentioned, the heated and cooled seats, leather seats. It's got a full like sat nav screen thing that you can do stuff on, reversing camera. Obviously it's got the big engine in it, the V6, and it's manual. The automatics look pretty cool in these as well. You get like proper flappy paddle things which look quite good, but I've not used them so I can't comment on them really. But they're the main things I think as a package for like a sub. It's hard to say pricing because they vary so much in terms of mileage wise, but we'll say sub 8 grand max. It's not really a bad car at all. There's not many other cars I think are going to be at that sort of standard of quality as well, because you can buy a car that's like quick. You can buy a car quicker than this for the same money, but you're not going to get the nice sort of leather and the build quality of the car. If that's something you care about, that is. Some people don't really care if the plastic feels cheap or if the leather's not real leather and all that sort of stuff. But if you do like sort of a well-made car, Lexus are sort of the one for you, especially with this one. They've done a great job on it. But that's kind of my part really that I want to say on the whole car mini review, I guess, with my short period of owning it. Just thought it was something important to add, because I'm not going to get another time to really add this in. It would have been something I would have wanted to do maybe a year down the line of owning the car, but obviously we've not been able to achieve that. So yeah, thanks for listening to the review section, I suppose.